Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm the Alchemist 369, and this live is geared for another live Q&A. Don't have anything else other planned than that, other than answering your guys' questions and trying to help you make sense of this reality that we are in and talk about the other side. So, welcome back, everybody, and sorry for the mix up on the time. There was an administrative error on that, but yeah, we are live now, and here we are. So welcome everybody, and at this time, if you guys can start dropping your questions in the comment section, and we'll get to it. Yeah, the intro is amazing. I love them. Hey Daisy. Oh, my man Seth is here. What's up, Seth? What's up, man? What's up, guys? Yeah, so while we wait for the questions to come in, I will say, taking care of your physical body is just as important as trying to, leave your body and trying to enhance spiritually and things like that. It's really a combination of three things: the mind, body, and soul, the physical, mental, and astral planes, right? Because when you can do all three of those, it truly helps. And today I remember probably like 5 or 10 years ago, I would love so much to go to like a true Indian healer type or something like that, right? Well, now knowing what I know, it's not as special to me when I go to somebody that can shoot electricity from their hands and stuff, because like I know we can do those things. But today I will say I am going to this girl that's also in Bali invited me and Lova to this healer that she found. And this healer actually trained with, what's this guy's name? Some healer that used to be able to light a newspaper on fire with just his chi and things like that. So this guy's pretty good. He does some technique where it's literally electricity shooting from your hands, and it's like some healing mixed with some acupuncture and things like that. So I will be going with that, just trying to clear my field and doing that today. So yeah, I just wanted to say it is important that you protect the Holy Trinity, your mind, body, and soul. All right, so let's get into it. So Nina asks, what happens when we completely leave the construct? Can we see any loved ones? Okay. All right. So to fully understand this, you guys need some context, okay? You can see loved ones outside of the construct. Sure, everything is possible. But to speak on what's more likely to be and likely to happen, it's more likely that your loved ones are still in here, in this construct when you pass. That's the most likely thing to happen. And more often than not, you will see them in their perfected versions of themselves coming from the heavenly template. That's how my mom comes. She's still in here. That's more often than not, that's how you will see them, and they will be here. But outside of the construct, yeah, you certainly can see your loved ones and things like that. But by the time you get to that level and you're actually out and you're in your soul form, you will remember and have so many relationships, and you won't even, the desire to really connect with people like that, it kind of, I don't want to say this in a way, but there's levels to it, and it kind of fades. You see, like, once you get out of here, your family from one little life in here, it's probably not going to be that significant to you, if that makes sense, unless you've been traveling with them for many lifetimes or something like that. But yeah, I will say that, yeah, it's certainly possible to see your loved ones outside of here. Yeah. Do I think fasting helps the process of OBE? It can. Now, fasting does serve benefits. Fasting serves many benefits. It's similar to meditation. So when you're fasting, It depends on your objective for it. You can fast to quite literally heal something. Say you have cancer. You can fast for 20, 21 days, and a long extended fast is going to stimulate cell regeneration, and it can quite literally heal you from things like that. It depends on your objective for fasting. Also, prolonged fasts do help clear out the physical body, and you will be able to connect with the divine more. But I believe that more so helps in the physical. It helps you connect with the other side more in the physical, like through meditation and things like that, because you're not as clouded. If this makes sense, you're not as clouded from all the toxins and things in the food, so you're actually able to tap into the other side a lot easier when you're fasted. Now, will it actually help achieving the out of body state? I don't know, because a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a prolonged fast. I think I was fasting for like over 72 hours. And then I tried to leave my body that night, and I actually caught a cramp. I caught a cramp as I was leaving my body. And I was like, damn, it's probably from the fasting. Like, something wasn't right within. I just did a 72-hour fast, and, so I caught a cramp when I was practicing. So it actually made it tougher. But to achieve the out of body state, the only thing that you really need that will really help you is a strong desire to see the other side, which translates to the will of your soul. That is the number one thing that will help you to achieve the out of body state, is a strong desire to access it. I'm talking extremely strong. Like, you really have to want to get out of here and you can achieve that state. But fasting certainly can help, but I'm going to say it's not necessary to achieve the out of body state. But in fasting, it really depends on your intention. Like I said, there's many things to do for fasting. Now, most days I fast like 20 to 24 hours every day, so most days. Some days I will eat 2 meals a day in a 6-hour window. Like, maybe I'll eat lunch around 1 and then dinner around 6. But I don't like those days, because I feel like I'm cheating myself, and it really feels like too much. Like, I'm just eating too much, at that point. So I really try to eat 1 meal a day, and, but that helps. And when you do that, prolonged fasts aren't as necessary, because your body's already pretty much clearing everything out in those 24 hours that you fast. Now, I will say, I still do like a 3-day fast, like once a month, though, on top of that. But does it directly correlate to achieving the out of body state? No, I'd say fasting more so helps you here in the physical. Mario, what's up, man? We agree the moon isn't solid, that planets like Mars don't exist as portrayed, and that the Earth is flat. Yeah, astral projectors say the total opposite. Why the discrepancy? All right. So, yeah. So this can be, all right, there is a base layer of reality on the other side. If you hold a strong belief system, if you hold the planets are real. When I was first leaving, I was projecting my consciousness as if the white spaces I see when I close my eyes, as if they were stars. And when I would project, I would literally be out flying through them. Sure, you can see planets, you can see all of that if that's what you believe there is. But once you do go deeper and you access base reality, you will see that is not the case. There's dimensional spaces in here. This universe is still extremely big. There's dimensional spaces in here that quite literally will take up the entire realm. You see, so like, it's quite infinite in that aspect. For as vast as science says the universe is, when I say we are in a creation, and science says that there's all these amounts of galaxies and things like that, well, every star correlates to a specific time and place within this creation. So this creation is still quite literally just as big as they say the universe is, but it's not like space that separates it. It's all taking up the same space, just separated by frequency. Now, why they see it? Because they're traveling in their dimensional spaces. Their belief systems are still intact. If they did see it, it might shatter them. But quite literally, when you get out of here, you will see this is a creation. There's a foundation to it. It's fixed. When you honestly are a truth seeker and you're trying to get to the bottom of it, you will see it. Now, another example of this is once you're outside of the construct and you're looking at other things, they can appear. If you don't know what you're seeing, they will, this place and the other places, the other constructs that you see will appear like round and stuff, and you can think, oh, these must be other planets and things like that. But then when you really look in it, you're like, oh no, this is the construct, so that's another aspect of it. But I will say, when I first started astral projecting and stuff, when I was just doing this by myself, I would be out and I would be flying through, what I thought was space and things like that, but it wasn't that. And then as soon as you really try to get to base reality and understand the true nature of things, you will see that that's just not true. So majority of them, they're just not digging deep enough. They're just not, getting to the ultimate truth, which is very important to do in this space, because I'm sick of the misconceptions here. For somebody like me, I'm sick of all the layers. Like, here we are so deep and taken so far away from our natural state here in realm one. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all the narratives. I'm sick of all the templates. I'm sick of all the stories. Like, I just want to get out of it and see base reality for what it is. And when you have that desire, you will then see that it's not what they say it is. You see? Oh, my guy Mirror Point's in here. What's up, man? Casey's, hey. I saw another video you had about where the soul goes after death. Do we really get stuck in between realms and dimensional spaces if our frequency is low? Yeah, now not everybody does that. Now, this is important for me to say. This does not happen to everybody. More often than not, when you pass away, if it's your time, your loved ones will be there to greet you. It will be a smooth transition. More often than not, that's what happens. But there are instances where people will hold a strong belief system, or maybe their loved ones weren't there. There are gray areas here. Like, it's so massive, so things do happen that doesn't apply to everybody. Now, an example of this is, if you hold a strong belief system or something, you can quite literally trap yourself. It's you doing it though, and everybody here, I don't believe anybody here listening to this will have to worry about this or anything like that, because you guys obviously know enough not to have that happen. But certainly, if you're stuck here for a little, and it's not forever, it's quite literally very temporary. There's this one near-death experience of this that I like to say, where she curated her own hell. She was walking through this hallway and there was doors, and every door she went in, she had to experience some other traumatic event, until eventually she was walking in the field. She got raped by some beings, and then she walked to this building, and then she sang a gospel, and then all of a sudden she opened up and she was outside of that. So when I say you can't get, it's not very long. It's just, it may feel long in the time because time doesn't really exist, but in all actuality, it's not that long that you'll create that for yourself. But yeah, so some people do certainly get stuck there. And an example of this is in What Dreams May Come, the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr. Now, I love this movie because there's a lot of comparisons. That's what it's actually like. Now, when Robin Williams first dies in this movie, he can't really see his spirit guide, which is Cuba Gooding Jr., which is really his son, but he appeared as Cuba Gooding Jr. at first. He really couldn't see him until he freed himself enough. He was just playing through scenes, like seeing his funeral, like understanding that he was dead. And then as soon as he was open to seeing all things, that's when his spirit guide really, really took form, and he was really able to see him. And another a good example in What Dreams May Come is when his wife died, she committed suicide. And that trapped her in her own dimensional space. And Robin Williams went to go try and help her. But you can't really help anybody because we are all gods outside of here. So it really has to be you to change. Like, he could go there and say something to her, but if her belief is so crazy and sporadic, she's not going to break out of that herself. And that's kind of like what that is. Now, eventually she was able to break out of it and reunite, and then they were in the heavenly realms, and then they decided to reincarnate together. That's quite literally what it's like on the other side. So that's a good example to help you guys explain this. So if you haven't seen What Dreams May Come, check that out. That's a good representation. Now, is everything in this movie literally what it's like? No, but it is a good example. Use your own discernment. put together things that I've told you, things that feel right within you while you watch this and use your own discernment. But it is a pretty good example of it. Can you heal your body from the other side? Do you believe that's true? Yes, 100%, man. When I first got into this, one of the things that I quickly realized is that all things are possible. You just have to want it bad enough. You can heal your body without going to the other side. If you believe it strongly enough, without a shadow of a doubt, and if you really want it, you can heal yourself here. You can Jeff was paralyzed. He started to walk. Amber healed herself from diabetes. You can quite literally heal yourself here. You don't have to leave to do so. You just have to believe it. Now, with that said, if you're out of your body, what you're talking about is like direct healing, 100%, man. Because when you come back from a large out of body, right? When I say a large out of body, somewhere where the frequency was a lot higher, and you come back, your soul's frequency is going to come back with that. And when you operate at a high frequency, the physical body is like, it's nothing. It's like at that point, the limitations that are inside the physical body don't exist. Like an example of this is you may not even need to sleep. You may not need to eat. All of those things it's just like, all right, the physical body, it's really just a meat suit at that point, and you do not identify with the physical body when you come back from a large one, and your soul's frequency is carrying you at that point. And at that point, when you come back, you can quite literally heal anything. I remember I was vaping. When I came back from an out of body, I no longer felt the need to vape. And I was working as an engineer. And on birthdays, my boss would bring in donuts for everybody. And I was like, damn, I really shouldn't eat this donut because I know it's going to bring me back down. But I ended up eating the donut, and instantly I was like, damn, I just messed it all up, man. But you can definitely heal yourself. Now, another example of this is ETs even heal you. You know, they can even heal you. Like these we are not conditioned to these physical bodies and these rules and templates that are here, man. Like we really aren't. Anything is possible. You just have to believe it. The reason why a lot of people are sick is because they believe that they can be sick. I know this may go against a lot of people, but it's quite literally true. You know, you can heal yourself dramatically. These physical bodies in this reality, it seems very real, but it's not at the end of the day. And as you expand your consciousness and raise your vibration, you will quite literally understand that. Now, do I stay in this high frequency place all of the time? Not at all. You know, not at all. I drip back into, you know, my human frequency and human thoughts and actions, you know. But for some time when I come back, all of these things become apparent that, wow, this is really just a game. You can really control anything of how you desire and things like that. So, yeah, I will say yes, for sure. Um, uh, do I know of a way to induce or to be more susceptible to deja vus? I can only talk about direct experience for this. So when I experience deja vus, there's times when I'll experience them like every other day. And it's times when I am seeking guidance and I'm really moving in alignment with my path. When I'm really moving in alignment with my path, that's when deja vu will happen more. And that's kind of like a sign for me that, okay, I'm going in the right direction. And this will occur when I'm paying attention to the signs, when I'm just really in tune with the universe. I disconnect from this reality. I'm looking at signs. I'm seeing angel numbers all the time. I'm really looking for signs and guidance from the universe. And then just really going from that and outside of my logical mind, that's when I'll experience deja vu quite often, quite literal. Like I'll be telling Lova, like, wow, this is deja vu. And she'll be like, wow, you get these all the time. I'm like, sometimes I do, you know, sometimes I don't. But for me, it's a sign that like, okay, I'm on my path. And because this was a pre-planned event and that's what I'm experiencing, that's what I'm remembering. So when you walk your path and look for signs, that would be my answer to that. All right, let's get just me. I believe she super chatted it. Let's get just me props. I believe she super chatted it. So let's get her question quick. Um, is it true there are places blocked off that we can't access, like the White House, and does where you're doing OBE have an effect on the experience? Um, no, no. You can certainly go there. Now, there are they do have remote viewers and things like that there as well. Yeah, sure. They may scare you or try to cut you out if they see you, but when you know that you're your ultimate authority, you can laugh at them and just say, "No, like get out of here. This is what I'm seeing. Good luck trying to stop me," you know? So no. Um an example of this is in Antarctica. One time I've seen there was a other other out of body or remote, whatever you guys want to call them, that were trained by the government, and they tried to limit me, but didn't happen. So no. This is where you're doing OBE. Um, where you're doing it, does it affect it? No, no, it doesn't. Oftentimes when I leave, I'm right in the area that my body was in when I was practicing, so it will affect it in that way. And I will say that in Bali, when I leave, the vibration is very high, but I don't know if I was experiencing the vibration just because it was this area, or if it was because I hadn't had like a big OBE in a while. So like when I left, I felt it again as if like when I first was leaving. But yeah, I would say no, it doesn't matter where you do it. It's still going to be an experience, and once you're out, you can control and navigate where you want to go. Why do beings come to get you? And when they do come to get you, do they just expect you to go with them, or do they talk to you first? Well, they come to get you because they're quite literally friends. And it's a big event when a human leaves their body. Like, we're so far down. Like, it's a sell it. When I say the other side is always working for us, they truly are. And they're always rooting for us to come back to the light, come back to remembrance. And so when you leave your body, it's a big thing. Like, people are excited, they're ecstatic, and they come to get you because they're like, okay, yes, you can help us with this mission. Like, like, come on, like, yeah, you're here. Um, that's why. And it's not scary or nothing. Like, you guys have to understand, like, that's where we come from. And they come to you like there's no they'll come to you like directly, like in your face, like pow, like, hey, here I am. Because to them, it's normal, but to us coming in forgetfulness, I don't think they really understand how traumatic that can be when you're coming from a human to there. I don't think they fully understand how it is, man. but but yeah, they certainly can. And they talk to you first sometimes. The seraphim, when he came, he didn't talk. He was just there, and like I just knew to, like, it was just like a knowing, like, all right, this is what we're about to do. And it wasn't scary at all. It wasn't scary at all. Sometimes do they really talk to you? If you're open to it, yeah, they can talk to you first. It depends. It's all dependent. Like, it depends on how they appear, how they present themselves to you, how open are you. It's all dependent. Now, oftentimes if you're scared, you're not going to run into anybody. Like, if you're having a fear of something, like, you're not going to run into anybody. And the people that you run into are often the people that, like, are there. Like this crazy witch lady, an example, when I was in the house with my ex-wife, she was always there. And I think it was something to do with that house, or somebody in there's thought form, or something tied to there. Because when I left there, I never seen her again. But like, she was just always there, and she would cry sometimes. She'd be there with this raspy voice. Like, I went into my bathroom one time and she was like, "Hey." I'm like, "What are you doing? Crazy. Like, leave me alone." Like, at that time I was still pretty new. So like, I wasn't about to interact with her or anything like that. I'm just like, "Yo, get away from me," type of thing. Looking back on it, I wish I would have helped her or spoken with her. So people like that will be there sometimes, but Um, you're probably not even gonna run into if you're scared or something, like, you're probably not even gonna present themselves to you. Or now another example is when I was first leaving, my mom came to me very early on, and I was, like, still in the bed, but I was outside of my body because I remember moving my hand. I remember moving my soul hand, and I thought it was my physical hand. Because when I was moving, I didn't see my physical body. I just see my hand. So I'm like, oh, damn, I must still be in my body. And then I felt somebody on my bed. And at the time, I thought it was my partner moving around, but it wasn't. And because she was knocked out, dead sleep. And then I felt somebody touch the back of my neck and say, hey, my baby. And that scared the hell out of me, and it was just my mom, but she just popped on and said that. And then after that, she didn't come to me for a while. She seen how that freaked me out. She didn't come to me for a while after that. So like that's what I mean. Like if you're freaked out, they won't come to you, like you really it's really based on your vibration. Everything is relative to the frequency of the observer, and fear, emotions are vibrations. So like if you are quite literally, they won't even appear to you. They won't. Does eating meat affect the ability to go out of body? No, nothing can, guys. Like if the will of your soul is strong enough, you can leave under any condition, under anything. You can leave, quite literally. I eat meat. Do I eat meat all the time? No. Especially being in Bali, there's tons of good vegan places here, and like last night, I had a beet steak that just tasted so good. It was just made out of beets, and it was very good. So, but like I still eat meat, maybe once or twice a week. It doesn't affect you at all, All of those things are just now. If you're trying to raise your vibration in the physical, sure. Eating things with the electricity are better to conduce electricity and things like that. Eating too much meat can bog you down because there is no electricity in meat. It's quite literally dead. I've stuck voltmeters in meat. There was no electricity in it, and then I stuck voltmeters inside fruit. Had electrical charges and things like that. It will help raise your frequency and vibration here in the physical, for sure. But the food here is so far off from what it used to be. The fruit doesn't even have seeds in it like it used to. Everything's genetically modified. So eating meat does help. The fat from meat does help. Um, I used to eat a lot of chicken when I was working out and stuff, but I don't eat a lot of chicken. If I do eat meat, it's typically red meat, or eggs. I do eat a lot of eggs just because I just like them. But yeah, that's what it doesn't affect it won't affect you from leaving your body. No. uh I think Try has a super chat. Let's get him if you can find that prop. Oh, is laughter mean anything? Is it a form of love? Yeah, everything is frequency. So, and frequency is feeling and emotion. So laughter is certainly a high vibration. It is a form of love. You can say that. Yeah, for sure. I'm a soul. I'm unlimited, infinite. I don't want to have a job to make money. It enslaves me. Can I manifest large sum without working, having a job? How? I don't like to do these things because it's not really what it's about. But can you manifest large sums of money? I'm gonna say, yeah, everything is possible. Of course, is it hard? Have I been able to do so? No. I remember before I left my body, I remember my belief was so strong. I I used to try to manifest hitting the lotto. Like as I was trying to astral project and stuff and like knew these things were real, like I just knew it. Before I ever left my body, I just knew I was a uncontrollable, like I just knew I could create my reality. Like my belief was so strong. I remember trying to manifest hitting the lotto, like trying very hard, and I'd hit it and it wouldn't happen. I'm like, damn, I must have an underlying belief that this isn't possible. But yeah, it is it is possible. It certainly is. But like you just have to be in a high state, and it won't come in the form of like what you think it will, but you certainly can manifest things like that. And I will say about having a job and stuff, it is, you can feel like it enslaves you and stuff, but it is part of the game here. Like working and doing something productive with your time, I would say the best advice is to find a job that you feel good doing. If you feel good doing it, it's not a waste. It's not trapping you. If you're doing a job that helps people or something like that, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because we still work on the other side too. It's not like you're punching a clock or anything, but there's still tasks that we do to help things on the other side. So like working is not necessarily a bad thing in itself. But like for me specifically, I was working, in a place that like I knew was fake. Like I knew it was fake, and I could see the energy of my coworkers all being drained for a fake narrative and things like that. And that's something that I just couldn't do anymore. I couldn't fake it to that extent anymore. That's why I left. But if I had an opportunity to work to do something that I loved or I was passionate about, I would certainly do that. Working a traditional job. So it's not. I hear what you're saying, but and money, guys, it's not everything. It's really nothing here. As long as you have your basic necessities here, sure, you may have desires to go somewhere or vacation or think that if you had all this money, but once you get out of here, I promise you, it doesn't matter. Like when I view these other lifetimes of mine, I don't care about my house. I don't care if I had money. All I care about is how I treated people and how I acted and what I learned during that experience. It wouldn't matter if I was homeless outside of here. You know, these are all lower perspectives. But once you leave here and you're in soul form and you have a higher perspective, those things don't even matter. So I wouldn't even put too much focus on that. I would just focus on the day-to-day things, like how you're behaving with people, um, your relationships. Are you showing love in the best way possible? Are you doing something productive every day? Something that makes you feel good? Those are things that are important. I will say that. Question: when super soldiers talk about the secret space programs and say they go to the moon and Mars, where are they actually going? Is the moon is plasma and Mars is a fixed star in the firmament? Yeah, so I don't know. I'd have to hear that exact story, but sometimes they could just be lying, or it could be their belief system. Or they could just believe that's where they're going and things like that. But a lot of those things are just narratives, and it's another way to throw you off. It's like, okay, an example of this is like, okay, they'll lie and say, another example to throw you off and to lie and make you believe it is, they'll say the moon landing happened, right? Or they'll say, well, it wasn't the moon landing. Really, what happened was there was extra aliens there, and that's why they never went back. So they'll say another lie to you, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, so this is the real truth, you see? And then it still throws that same narrative that space is real and things like that. But it's completely not, guys. Like, we are quite literally in a creation. This is the game. We were put here. It's quite literally like the Truman Show. Everybody's just believing it and going along with it. Um, it's really what it is. It's just what it is, guys. Like, you know, have I ever gone on the moon? No, it's not a physical place. Have I been there out of my body? No, I never. I have been up there and seen it, but I've never really like gone. It was never a place of interest for me to like go there. And these things they come to you as a knowing. They come to you as a knowing. Like here, you can't even fully understand what I mean when I say it comes to you as a knowing. When you leave your body and you know these things, you just know. Your memories return. They return back to you. So it's not like when I'm out, it's just like, oh yeah, I know, I remember that. I remember that. Like, okay, yeah, I remember all of these things. And then when you come back, sometimes your memory doesn't fully come back when you come back to the human body. But and then when you're in the experience, it's like, damn, I wish I would have checked that out more. I wish I would have asked more questions. But when you're there, it's like you just know everything. We are infinite, guys. It's your soul memories do start to come back. So you don't necessarily have to go or see everything when you know these things. Yeah. Do low frequency really get us so stuck in between realms? I think we already answered this. How can we energetically shield ourselves from the heavy metals that are being sprayed in the air and boxes of ticks that make you? How can we energetically shield ourselves from the heavy metals that are being sprayed in the air? And boxes of ticks that make you allergic to metal that farmers are finding in boxes in their fields. I don't know about the boxes finding in fields, but shielding yourselves from heavy metals. I have a heavy metal detox that I take, Masterpiece. I believe the link is in the description. I would say to get that. That helps combat the heavy metals in your body, for sure. How to shield yourselves. There's not really any way. Go to a place where there's no chemtrails, like Bali, for example. I've never seen one chemtrail. All the clouds in here look like how they used to look when I was a kid. There's quite literally no straight lines like you see in America or Europe. Like in Denmark, I've seen a bunch of chemtrails. America, you see a bunch of chemtrails. Here, you don't see any. But yeah, I would say that and the heavy metal detox. What was that question? Damn, it's starting to get hot. Who, what, when, where gives me permission to question stuff? You give yourself permission to question stuff? I don't fully understand that one. But yeah, you seen the grid. What do you mean about grid? Do you mean the grid of this place? Yeah, I have seen it. So in the out of body experience where I seen the toroidal field changing, I seen other stuff in there too, and it came from a knowing. So there are certainly so the grid is quite literally like where the pyramids are. Like they already set that up. They already mapped that out. Now there is a pyramid in Atlanta, Georgia, in the form of a hill that lines up with the Syrian star system. I believe it's the Syrian star system. That's the portal from Atlanta, Georgia. I believe that's it. The ones in Egypt, they line up with the Orion star system. This one kid from Canada mapped out all of the pyramids and like 100 pyramids in South America just by remembering that they line up with the stars. Like this Canadian like teenager just was like discovered all of these pyramids in South America just by realizing that they line up with the stars or remembering that they line up with the stars and they're all access points and things like that. So that may be the grid that you're speaking about. Yeah, I know there's tons all over. If you just look at the pyramids in the world and how they correlate to the stars, I mean that's the grid. Have I willed my soul to show me other non-physical forms such as a formless being? Yeah, but it wasn't really like I willed my soul to do so. I didn't have a desire to see it, but I have been formless, for sure in the void. And as you go back further, like you have no form, like you just have no form. There's other light beings and things that you can talk to that I've came in contact with, and it's just like a massive amount of information, and it's almost like a whole collective is like inside of like one light being in these higher planes of existence. Yeah, there's tons of you have no form. Even when your soul is physical, it's like because you want to be physical and experience things. But in your true state, your true form, like you don't really have a form. You're just infinite. you know, just infinite, just the feeling of it, it's hard to even explain. You're truly infinite. You truly are. Why is there still a debate with some of these out-of-body travelers about having to reincarnate versus not having to reincarnate after one passes away? I don't know about the debates and things like that. I don't know. I just did another interview with the Paradigm Experience, and he was like, "There's so much drama in the out-of-body community and things like that." I'm like, you know, I don't really feed into that. Like, yeah, I'm all about the ultimate truth and things like that. So the ultimate truth is this: you can reincarnate if you want to, but once you reach a certain level and you don't want to, you can say no. That is the ultimate truth, that you are your ultimate authority. And if you have the consciousness and awareness to know that, you will not. That is the ultimate truth, is that if you don't want to, you're not going to, and you have to stand in that and believe in that. You know, if you want to reincarnate, sure, yes, that happens. People do get reincarnated, and it can be even against their will. They might not even really want to, but they're not standing on that. You see, if you stand on business and say no, I'm not, or anything, like, you're not coming back. You know, if you truly understand that you are your ultimate authority, can't nothing make you do anything. When you truly understand that and step in your full divinity, none of that is going on. That is the ultimate truth. And how do I know this is the ultimate truth? Because when I stand on business and I say something or I command something, that's then the truth. So anything other than that is not the truth, you know. So I hope that helps answer your question. All right, reptile eggs healthy. I don't know about that. I don't know. Do languages and musical scale like 430 hertz tuning exist naturally, or were they introduced to humans to fragment our thought and physically lock our brainwaves to easily manipulated frequency band? So I'm trying to understand this fully. So there are natural frequencies here. Everything is frequency, energy, and vibration. I believe the natural frequency of the earth might be 432 hertz or something like that. And I do know for a fact that the music was altered to, I believe, 440 or 430 hertz to lock us into that state. I do know that. But the natural state frequency of music that we should be listening to, I believe, is in alignment with the natural frequency of the earth, which is like 432 hertz or something like that. I believe that's what it is. I haven't looked into this fully in a long time, but if my memory serves me correct, I believe that's what it is. But yeah, they have manipulated, you know, 100% the music, the frequency, and things like that to lock us into lower vibrational states. Yeah, all of that is true. What happens to people that do evil here on earth after they pass away? So what happens is they feel immense pain, and it takes some time to cross over. This is why uh, there is healing places and things like that to heal after you leave here. Like there's places where you go to heal from your trauma from here. That's probably where they go. And an example, everything is still frequency based on the other side. So while I say most beings in the afterlife, they dwell in the heavenly realms, they do, but it's not until their frequency aligns with them. And it's none of this is bad, guys. Literally, none of this is bad. It's all an experience, and everything is temporary. You guys have to understand. And you're not going to get to these other realms until your frequency is in alignment with them. And what does that look like? It looks like healing. It looks like getting out of your trauma and stuff like that. Sometimes it takes time. And an example of this is if you're in a place where your thoughts manifest instantly, do you want to be next to somebody who has crazy thoughts? Probably not, right? And there's safeguards in place. Quite literally, your frequency has to be in alignment to be there. And once you pass away, you do step back to, the unconditional love, the frequency of the other side, and things like that. Sometimes it takes more time than others, depending on, their state of being. But yeah. Getting out the firmament is easy after death. Yeah, you're not really trapped in here. Now, getting out the firmament or getting out of the construct. Yeah, and you got when you leave here, chances are you probably won't even really want to. I know it seems like now everybody's like, yo, I'm just so sick of this place. Like, let me just get out of here. But quite literally, that's how I was feeling too. But quite literally, once you're out, and I just did a video about what happens after death, and everybody's like, oh, a life review. Like, what if I don't want one? I'm going to say, when you get out of here and you return back to the eternal aspect of yourself, chances are you will want to. You will want, oh, thank you, Mario. Appreciate that, bro. Thank you, man. You will want to have like a life, like it's not things here seem bad until you're in your eternal soul and on the other side. Things are not bad there, like fear only exists here in the lower realms. Everything is really quite magical. Yeah, so you might not even really want to leave this place. There's still good places inside of this construct. The heavenly realms is not a bad place. Even other realms are really not a bad place. It's quite pleasurable, inside of here. It's just this realm that we are in here is pretty rough and pretty bad when you're incarnated here, for sure. But even this wasn't supposed to be like this. It got hijacked, and now because we don't know who we are and things like that, and we're operating on such a low frequency, and controlled and believing all of these things and really involved in this matrix. That's what makes this so bad. But in its original form, it wasn't even meant to be like that. Like, we were supposed to come here and be taught about the other side, come here in forgetfulness and slowly start to remember and things like that. And that looks like schools and things like that to tap into our abilities. And once you operate on that frequency, even this place isn't even that bad, so it is easy to get out. You can do everything, but chances are when you return back to the eternal aspect of yourself and you leave this life, the moment that you leave this life is the best feeling ever. I'm telling you, when you have an out-of-body experience, now the feeling doesn't really come when you're just outside of your body and you see your physical body on the bed or you're around here. Yeah, at first it's like amazing. Like, okay, I really do exist outside of here. Like, okay, cool. But I'm saying, like, once you really leave and you really get outside of here in these higher realms, and you start viewing other lifetimes of yours or more, once you really leave and all of the weight of this physical life leaves you, and you're just, that feeling of stepping back to the eternal aspect of yourself and your soul with no limitations, that is the best feeling ever. And at that moment, you will want to experience or do anything. Like anything within this construct, outside of this construct, like the feeling that you have when you're in your soul, when you're not in this physical body, is so amazing. Like, you will want to do everything. Like, in this construct, outside of it, everything. So I would focus more so on getting back to that state, just leaving here, forgetting about this life and just getting back to that state of, through the out of body experience. Of course, I'm not talking about taking yourself out or anything like that. That'd be crazy, right? And that will go against your plan here and make you feel bad ultimately. But once that feeling that you have when you're in soul form and you reunite on the, it's quite magical. It's quite and the contrast from being in this human world to being there is so high and so grand. Like, I don't think a lot of you guys grasp it, how great of a feeling it is, once you're in soul form. And at that moment, everything seems okay. Like, quite like when I'm out of my body and I'm like, it's time for me to come back, I'm like, okay, let me just go be a human. Like, yeah, sure, I can do that. It's so temporary, it's so easy. You think like that when you're there, because when you're little in these human bodies, everything seems so big and so hard. But when you are big and limitless, everything will seem so little and so easy. You see, it's kind of like that. Casey says, the stuck souls in between dimensional spaces, can they raise their frequency while in lower? Yeah, you can snap out of it anytime. And don't get stuck on that too much, guys. Like, when I say people get a lot of times, it's because they want to, or they're just not ready to open up. Like, don't have fear around that. It's not nothing to be afraid of or anything like that. I understand why people don't say that publicly now, but it's not. Yeah, you can, at any given time, you have the ability to wake up and return back to anything. At any given time, once you're ready, you can get out of that, for sure. Does all your travel happen by thought, or can you also fly? Yeah, I would say not a lot of my thought. A lot of my travel doesn't happen by thought. A lot of it is like I'm physically walking, I'm physically going somewhere. My thoughts and my intentions and my frequency will carry me to access places, or my spoken word or command. But it's like you're physically there. And yeah, you can fly. The only time when you can't fly is like when you're inside of another body or inside of another experience. Like, if you're accessing your soul records or something and you're inside your other life, you're not going to fly, and you're more than likely just going to be re-experiencing scenes and things from that life, and it will feel as if like you're there now, like in it, making those decisions, but you're not. But yeah, other than that, you can fly. You can certainly fly. Another example of this, when I couldn't fly, and I haven't found this out, is like, I was on a mission one time, because out of your body you do go on certain missions and things. And in this particular mission, I was with a friend that I knew from the other side. I knew him in the experience, but now, like, I don't know him. And we were going to a time period that was like 1960s America, and we were looking for something, trying to help some evidence or something. And I know it was nice because, like, segregation and racism was like a very big thing in this time. And I tried to fly walking down the street, and I couldn't fly. And I'm like, huh, why can't I fly? Like, what's going on? And in the experience, it came to me because I was like, oh, because I'm actually in realm one, and I can't fly here. For whatever reason, I understood why I couldn't, but now looking back on it, it's like I don't know why I couldn't. But in the experience, I understood why I couldn't. That was one time when I tried and I couldn't. The other times, I never even tried to fly. Like, when you get out, when you first get out, you want to fly and stuff, but like, as experiences go on, like, that doesn't even cross my mind. Like, I remember like walking with people with souls, like, they walk fast, man. Like, some of them walk fast, like, they move differently. And I was like, why are we even walking? Like, why don't we just appear somewhere? And it's because, like, this like, it's how to truly experience. You don't have to, but really, to experience something, it's kind of just like here. Like, you want to walk somewhere, you want to experience those types of things, walking, seeing things, having the illusion of time and things like that. Like, that's what makes the experience fun. But you can certainly fly. And I wouldn't, most of my travel is like physical, like I'm physically going and walking somewhere. All right, let's get it. Oh, thank you, Mario. I appreciate that, bro. That'll buy me like 5 coffees here in Bali. Well, yeah, thank you. Let's get Aaron Hooper. I'm enjoying my vacation from infinity pretty much, but I keep getting stuck in a bizarre dimensional space lately. What's up with that? I've had several OBs in the past. You saying you're enjoying your vacation from infinity pretty much. So you're enjoying your time here on Earth, maybe? But you keep getting stuck in a bizarre dimensional. Are you talking about out of body? You keep getting stuck in a dimensional space? If that, I would say work on clearing your subconscious and clearing your field. Do some meditations here. A lot of times when you're in these dimensional spaces, it's because of an underlying issue within you. So in that, and healing things like that, you can heal them out of your body, but honestly, like healing them here, it helps too, because things here weigh heavy on your soul. Like if you're constantly thinking about something, even unconsciously thinking about it, it weighs heavy on your soul, and that's why a lot of times you'll be stuck in dimensional spaces. So I would say, work on meditating, clearing your field, and things like that will help with that, if that's what you're referring to, my friend. Can you take on new skills and talents on the other side, like being able to sing, for example? I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah, but like I haven't. It's more like you can do anything, and a lot of the things that you do are things that you like already like. But yeah, you can certainly take on new skills and things, and it's gonna come from in the form of an experience, like an incarnation, or going inside of a construct or a realm for an experience or something like that. That's where those skills are going to come in and come from. um i think we I think we answered this already. Do I know anything about the chant and what happens if it works? Yeah, it's a frequency that's really real. I got out of earthly things before I really was able to dabble into that, and I started just leaving my body and bypassing all of those things, before I really got into that. But all of those things work and they do help. I will say they work and they do help. Even aligning your chakras and kundalini, all of those things, they certainly help, but it's not needed. It's not necessary, you know. But yeah, humans have been figuring things out for a long time. All of those things do help, but it's not necessary. And I specifically, when I was getting into these things, I was starting to learn how to control my vocals and match vibrations and things like that. And then I started leaving my body and just left all of that alone. So, um, yeah. Miles says, I was trying to have an OBE. 45 minutes in, I felt energy from my feet to the top of my head, and I saw like lightning and sparks above my head. My body got warm and tingling. Was I close or what was that? Um, yeah, you're close. I mean, all of when you're practicing, you can experience all of these things, guys. Like you can experience hearing loud booms. You can experience insane vibrations that feel like you're having a seizure. You can experience so many things. I see flashes of light oftentimes, and what I will say is I found that when I'm practicing and I'm experiencing these things, I feel like I could leave very easily if I could just control my emotions when they happen. Like an example is like when I'll be practicing and like 15 or 20 minutes in, I'll feel like the flash of light and like the sensation of me leaving, but I'll catch it and I'll think on it and then it will like stop it. So like, yeah, if things happen, I feel all types of things. I'd say you're close, and it really at that point it just depends on like how much you're able to relax and let go. and not think with your logical mind. Because like as you think with your logical mind, it slows the process, because like then your brain waves start firing again and things like that, and it wakes you up and makes your magnetic field strong and things like that. But yeah, if you're able to just relax at any moment that you feel these things and just kind of feel them. I know it's hard to do, but yeah, you're very close. It's hard to say exactly how close, because that's dependent on like you. It's quite literally dependent on you. How much are you able to relax and let go? But yeah, I would say that's close. What it was, it's probably your frequency rising, things like that. Yeah, I see flashes of light. I start to hear stuff, chanting and things like that. I do all types of things. Yeah, you'll feel all those. Oh, Da Vinci, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Can you tell us a story about a soul retrieval if you've done one before? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna skip that. No offense to you, Daisy. It's just when I see people harp on these things a little bit too much, and I just don't want to really go in that direction. But yeah, have I downloaded knowledge from Universal Records before? This is a good question. I have, man, and it was so crazy. So I'm in this space, and it was quite literally like, what did it look like again? I'd have to review my notes. A lot of these things I have in my notes to recall exactly what. Like somebody just asked me about the moon, and I have been there, and I forgot about it, but I have been there. Um, that I just wanted to say that too. Like I remember that now. The Universal Records, yeah. So I have been there. I believe I've been there. I did ask Darius at this point in time. We're still in communication. I did ask him about it, but he didn't respond to it. It felt like I was in like this place. It was like a building, and I was there, and I wanted to ask him if it was like inside the construct or outside of it. Like, where is the Universal Records? Because I want to believe I was there, and in it, it was like as soon as I thought about it, like I didn't have. There was things there. It was like the halls of Amenti, where there's things there. There's tablets. There's books. There's things, but like I didn't have to interact with any of these things. Like in the halls of Menti, like typically like when you touch something or interact with it, then that's when the knowledge comes in. But here it was like as soon as I thought of something, it like came to me. Like it was some very powerful, crazy things. I'd like to say I was in the Universal Records, but it's kind of hard to really know. But but based on what I know about them and how it felt, it was very yeah, I would say yeah. And it's just like you just know everything, and then like when you come back from there, it's like at first you remember things from it, but it's such a high level of thinking that like quite literally as you come back and you have a conversation with somebody that's not on that level, it instantly forces your train of thought to get back to like the human level, and you're unable to understand those things. An example of this is like when I speak with my dad, and then I have like a realization of, oh, this is my dad. Like I'm a human, and then like that train of level lowers my frequency and makes me be like, oh, okay. And then you slowly start to lose that train of thought. But immediately when you come back and you meditate and things, you will like my notes were crazy at this time. You know, and things like that. And you are able to remember it and catch it sometimes, but it does take you to withdraw from this space. And that's quite literally what I tried to do when I left America, was just completely isolate myself to free myself to think in this ways. And that didn't really happen. I got a new partner and things like that, but yeah, it does help. It does help. uh, yeah. I see geometric patterns at night with my eyes open. No drugs. Have you ever heard of this? Yeah, yeah. The geometric patterns, the only time that I've really seen them was like when I was on shrooms. I did do shrooms like maybe 2 years ago. when I wasn't having out of bodies to just kind of reset. And like, yeah, I would just lay there, surf, and look at the geometric shapes and try to, and I was just like surfing my own dimensional spaces, trying to get out, but I couldn't. Well, yeah, like I think we touched on this briefly last week. I, I believe that what you're seeing is the fabric of creation. When you're in a high enough state, a high enough frequency, you're able to transcend the illusion of physicality here. And that's the way that they take shape. That's the way that light forms here to create these physical things, is through geometric patterns. So like what you're seeing is the crosshold between the light and becoming like physical and things like that. And you're starting to see like the inner mechanics of this reality. You know, that's what I would say that is. Oh, thank you. You remember a time of you talking to yourself in the mirror and going to your soul records to experience it. You're aware. So do you send hints to you? I don't really understand this one too much. You remember a time of you talking to yourself in the mirror. Are you saying you remember this and going to your soul records to experience it? You're aware. Do you so send hints to you? I don't fully understand that. If you can clarify what you mean. What do you mean by if you're aware? So do you send hints to you? Are you talking about sending hints to you from your soul? Like, it's all you. Like, so if you're standing in front of a mirror talking to yourself, are you out of your body or are you in your body? And going to your soul records, are you talking about going to your soul records out of your body? You know, and then that's where I lose you. So do you send hints to you? That's where I lose you. What do you mean by sending hints? 2026 is the year of disclosure, and 2027 the year aliens show themselves to us. Is it your guess it will be a soft launch? Maybe aliens that look like us, or could it get crazy with giants and dragons? Yeah, it's not gonna get that crazy, and this is the year of disclosure. And on the other side, when they present this stuff, they present it like it's so gonna be so magnificent and so crazy, and it's happening now, like it's really happening now. And then you see it, and it's like, oh. To us, it doesn't really seem that major, but to the other side and to the grand scheme of things, it really is, I guess. But like an example of this is disclosure. Like Trump released them photos about those UFOs, and like it was like nothing, right? But like that's disclosure, you know, and that's what it looks like. So it's not gonna be nothing major or massive. Now everybody in this space, you know, says, "Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. They're gonna be revealed." But when you really understand it, it's not going to be all of that crazy. Like, you know, so don't get your hopes up, but it will happen. Like that was disclosure when Trump released those photos of that's disclosure. That's what we mean when we say disclosure is happening, and that's what it would look like. Now, when the ETs are actually revealed to us, I don't know what that will look like, but it more certain most judging on how things are happening now, when I'm like, I receive a message from the other side and I'm like, oh, this is really going to happen. And then I see it and it's like, oh, it wasn't really even that much. So judging on that, I don't know what exactly it will look like, but definitely more than likely definitely be a soft launch. It's not going to be giants and dragons. I wish, man, but yeah, it'd be a soft launch for sure. I'm thinking. It depends, though. I mean, it could happen. That would be great. That would be great. Are we stuck on Earth, or can we meditate away and stay on the other side? Yeah, you can certainly do that. Um, I see some. I think they call them yogis or something. I did see something like, oh, this guy, he didn't eat for like 30 years, and then eventually he reached this state where he just crossed over consciously through meditating or leaving his body. You can certainly do that. I could leave my body not tonight and stay there on the other side if I really wanted to. You know, chances of me doing that are very slim, because you want to come back to finish things. Like for me, I always want to come back. My kid is a big reason why I come back. You know, relationships and you guys, and helping spread the message and things like that. Because if I didn't know what I know, like that's the whole purpose of me coming here, was this really. So that's why you come back. You come back to fulfill your purposes and stuff. But you can, yeah, you're not stuck here by any means. I could consciously make the decision at any time and just say I'm done. Like I've had enough. Like have somebody else come and do it. You know, like at any point in time, you can make that conscious decision. Yeah, but more often than not, you won't. When we die, could we choose to come back to a certain point in our lives and start over from that point, since everything is happening right now? I heard someone say this is possible. Oh, that's a good concept. I'm going to go ahead and say no, because, yeah, I'm going to say no, because there's rules and templates here. Now, let me think. Let me go down. It's hard to do these things live when I'm on the spot, but let me think of why this is not based on what I know. Because all time is happening at once, but we still only really ever have the present moment. And here in this realm, time is real. So like we are constantly moving. I'm gonna say no, you can't die and then come back to, like, if you have a near-death experience, you're gonna come back where you left off and experience this. Now, if you were conscious and you consciously tried to do that, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not possible, but have I seen it? I don't know. But like, if you're consciously aware on the other side and you're like, nah, I want, but also when you're out, you don't even think like that. You don't even think like, oh, I messed up. Let me go back and do it, because it's all an experience. And when you're in the eternal aspect of yourself, you really understand that. Like all of these things, it's coming, like all of these perspectives and questions of like, oh, I hate this life, or I wish I did this differently, or something like that. That comes from your human perspective, your human mind, when you're viewing things from a low level. Because we all are right now in a human perspective. We all are viewing things from a low level. You see, and then when you get out and you're in your soul form, you're going to view things from the bigger picture, and you won't even think like that. Like that won't even be a thought like, oh, let me redo that. Yeah, you'll feel regret and things like that, but it won't come to you in the way that it is now, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. Did you have to build your Merkaba before you can have an out of body experience? I don't know what that is. I didn't get into that. I think that's more like when you do things in the esoteric body and you're learning about energy systems and things like that. All of those things are, I feel like they limit you when you think in terms of matrices like that. Like that's a form of another matrix, when you believe that, oh, you have to when there's layers, too many layers and conditioning terms and things like that. That's another like limiting belief. And I feel like that limits you. When you just know, like, all right, I'm about to just get out of here, like, then there's no thought process of, oh, is my Merkaba good or whatever that is. Like, there's no thought of that. So, like, at that moment, it doesn't matter. You know, you're just like, I'm getting out of here regardless. So, you know, I wouldn't get into too many of those types of teachings and things like that. You can just quite literally leave your body, and they put names to everything. Like, and all of these names come with predispositions and pre-belief systems. Even when I use the word chakra, that gives you a predisposition belief around that, like what it is. You see. But if I called them energy centers or something like that, like Joe Dispenza does, you see that, then it changes things for you. Yeah, so the best belief system is to have no belief system. The only thing that you need to know is that, like, you can get out of here, and when you get out of here, you return back to the eternal aspect of yourself, whether you want to call that your soul, your astral body, whatever the hell you want to call it. That happens, and there's layers to it. There's different layers of awareness. Once you get out of here, you can be quite literally still on this side of the light spectrum, where you can't be totally physical and things, but you can command clarity and be 100% there, and then it will be focused. You'll be 100% there, and eternal aspect of yourself. I would say just knowing that, and only that, would be the number one thing to help you achieve the out of body state. All that other stuff just kind of limits you, and it makes you think like you have to do all of these things before you leave, which you don't. You can just leave. pre-death circumstances like Alzheimer's for many years, could one be confused enough to possibly reincarnate, whereas otherwise would not choose to return? I'm going to say that's a tricky question, and it's hard to answer these specific cases. It's more easy to speak generally, what will generally happen, because, there's tons of gray areas and one-off instances and things like that. But generally speaking, when you leave here, all the conditions from, like, if you have a mental illness or something, you don't have that when you leave. Like, that's just something that you have when you're in your physical body. Now, am I going to say, is there an instance where it's all, yeah, sure, you could have Alzheimer's. It could potentially help you. I don't know exactly, but it could. It also can't. I do know for a fact that, like, if you have an issue here, once you leave, that issue is non-existent. Are there really a lot of Christians stuck in the third astral realm because they think it's heaven? I don't know what you mean by third. The third realm would be like the ancient area. Do you mean the fifth heaven, the heavenly realm? I don't know. And when I say that, guys, like, yes, I understand why they don't tell you guys this. But when I say that, it's very temporary. It is not forever. Eventually, we all return back to the eternal aspect of ourselves. Eventually, we all turn back to the truth. Eventually, so nobody's stuck. Nobody's ever stuck forever. You can create these things, yes, but it's very temporary, and we all return back to the truth. I don't care if you got reincarnated 4 or 5 times before you return back to the truth, which is what I believe happened to a lot of people here that don't wake up to this, that are so conditioned to the matrix that literally can't wake up. It's because they've been a human for a long time, you see. But eventually, we all return back to the truth. So I will just say that we all return back to the truth in our infinite selves. We all do. So I will say that. Darius predicted something would happen on February 24th, but nothing happened. Why was he wrong? Because there was no time on the other side. No, and this is what I mean. This is why predictions are so tough. Well, one, when you're talking about a future time event, a lot of things must line up for that to happen, because what you're really tapping into is potentialities of that happening. And if everything acted on the current trajectory it is, then that would happen. But if we all have free will, so at any given moment, the trajectory can change. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is like what I just said earlier. Sometimes the other side says these major things are going to happen, and then when it actually happens here, it's really not that big of a thing. And it's kind of like, oh, this is what you were talking about, So it could have been something like that. I don't know what he was predicting 24th. I wouldn't say he was wrong. I believe he probably really was shown that. But oftentimes they will tell you things like this is going to happen, and it seems very serious and very real. And then you get here and it's like, oh, it wasn't really nothing, But I guess in the large scheme of things, it all is progressing towards the end goal here. So I guess everything really is massive in that way. But yeah, they definitely make it seem like it's such massive things that are happening and taking place, and then you see it and it's not really that. That's why, like, I've seen things too. Like, I've been shown things, but like, I don't really say it because I've learned that it's never going to be as great as they made it seem to me. So like, if I publicly tell you like, hey, this is going to happen, it's a lot of times it's never really like that, like as great as they say it is. It just doesn't seem like that here. Have you seen the video where a guru does chanting and all the frogs around him start croaking? No, but yeah, I believe that that's very possible. Frequency is everything. Yeah. Is a 3-hour OBE attempt too long? I mainly have to swallow saliva that throws me off. Yeah. I mean, it's your practice. You can swallow too. And anytime when you mess up, like I've been practicing and I've moved and I didn't allow, oh, I moved. Yeah, I messed it up. Nah, I may have set myself back 10 or 15 minutes, but if I move and I get right back into that state, you can leave very quickly. It's all relevant to you. Like, think about it like this: when you dream and when you go to sleep and you fully let go, you can, as soon as you go to sleep, you can instantly be in a dream or instantly be in sleep paralysis. It's happened. As soon as I fell asleep, I instantly woke up in sleep paralysis, or I was instantly in a dream. So it's all dependent on how you're able to relax in your state of being. You see, at 3 hours, that just tells me that you're not able to relax and shut down your body quick enough. If you're laying there for 4 or 5 hours, it's just telling me that you aren't able to shut your body down that time. Now it happens to me too. Sometimes I'll practice all night and I'll see like literally no success. And then I'll go to sleep, wake up and try again, and then I'll see success or something like that. Sometimes it takes me all night of trying, but when I say all night of me trying, I'm not laying still for that whole time. No, I will go to sleep, wake up, try again, like try to do things like that all night. But yeah, I'm not laying there for 2 to 3 hours anymore. I've done it in the past, and I was just like, this is, and then you figure out that there's other ways. Like I just taught in week 3, I taught how I consciously induce this in an hour or less. If I am in a good state, if my will of my soul is there's a certain process based on entering focus 10, repeating affirmations and things that I'm able to consciously induce this in an hour, every time consistently. But the only time it doesn't work is if my state of being is off. You see, like if I'm not as focused, if I don't have the will and clarity to do this, that's the only time it doesn't really work. So it's all dependent on you, But for sure, the one way to do it is to lay still until it happens. That's for sure one way to go about it. It's inevitable, if you're able to lay still. But you can swallow. Like I said, I've moved. And then you just have to understand that if you think you messed it up, you did. Now, if I'm in a strong vibrational state or something and I move, yes, that vibrational state will go away. But I am able to reach it again relatively quickly in like 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll be right back in it, picking up right where I left off. So it may set you back a little bit, but it doesn't ruin the whole thing unless you let it ruin the whole thing by your state of being. You see, because you can leave very quickly. So it doesn't mess it up. I hope that would help. Darn it, I have to return my dragon saddle to AMZ. To add with yeah. Can you explain bipolar schizophrenia? Is it more connected to the other side, mental illness? Yeah. And again, when questions like these that are very specific, I can only speak generally, right? There are gray areas. There are instances where what I'm about to say may or may not be true, but generally speaking, schizophrenia is you're definitely, more often than not, they're definitely really hearing voices from the other side and they don't know where to put it, and that's why it comes off as being crazy. And sometimes they can even tap into a crazy entity, and that's why they're like, oh, they try to like really go crazy, and they don't understand it or know where to put it, and then humans will give them pills or something, where if a schizophrenia came and talked to somebody like me, like I believe I could help them work that out and use that as a benefit. Bipolar, I've had some theories about bipolar, but I don't necessarily know exactly what's going on there. I've had some theories because I've had people in my life close to me that were like severely bipolar, and like I was like, well, I wonder what's really going on here, but I don't know for certainty to speak on what's going on with bipolar. But if they're hearing voices and something like that, or they say they are, they're more often than not really hearing them from the other side, and they just don't know what to make of it or where to put it and things like that. Yeah. How do you see Earth beings behaving once we are free from the so-called powers that be? Quite literally, a lot of things evil that people do here is based off of the illusion of power and control. And so once that's gone, You know, we act more in alignment with our divinity. A lot of evil things take place for money, monetary gain, because you're in survival mode here. We actually do need money to live and survive here. So, you know, makes sense why people do things like that. But once that's gone, you know, the need to do nefarious things kind of dissipates. You know, and once the illusion of control, and we all understand that we are all our own ultimate authority and things like that. The illusion of control only works on people in forgetfulness. That's why they want us in forgetfulness, so they can continue to control us. That only works with people in forgetfulness, because once you remember, there is no controlling nobody. So then there's no reason to do things nefarious. You know, it just kind of dissipates. So yeah, yeah, it will literally look like. Now Bali's a good example of this. Like, and people in Bali are just pleasant, man. The locals here are just pleasant. They all smile. They're just happy to be alive. Like, there's not a care in the world. Probably because there's just nice weather and their life is okay. Like, they work jobs here that pay like 180 US dollars a month. And that's the average salary here. And the people here are just happy. They just live without a care in the world. You know, probably be more in alignment with that. Do you come back each time with full memory, or do you come back and only have bits and pieces clear? Sometimes it's all super clear when I first come back, but then I forget if I start moving around. Yeah, yeah. It depends on your level of clarity. There, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. So, like, when I come back from a big one and I'm really ecstatic and I'm thinking about it all the time and I write it down, I will remember everything in detail. Sometimes, now, if it's not a big one and I was just kind of out experiencing something and it wasn't really too important for me or something like that, and I don't write it down, it will fade over time. That's why when people ask me like things that I've seen, things that I've been to, like, it's hard for me. I've been to a lot of places. It's just, you know, you just don't always. It's just not important for you to remember them. Another example of this is the other day when I was out and I set my intention to access all things, and I went to these beings because something's been weighing very heavy on my soul as I parted ways with somebody, and I was seeking answers for this. And I got those answers. I saw, and you know, I was told to continue, you know, doing what I'm doing, and you know, all that foolishness was just earthly things that people were attached to, but it had nothing to do with the important mission. And then after that, I was taken because I set my intention to access all things. And I was taken and I was actually shown these things. But then when I came back, it was way too much for me to remember or to know. So, like, I'll be unpacking that experience for some time. Bits and pieces are going to start coming back to me. You know, in time, as I develop and grow as a person, I probably will remember more and more of that particular experience. I was still unpacking things from the first time that I left and I was shown the realms and stuff. Like, I was still unpacking things from that, like just a couple months ago, sitting back on the experience and saying, oh, okay, that's what I seen. That's what this is. So, yeah. And it's so an out of body experience for other people listening to this. They may be like, what? I thought you remember everything. It's more real than here. Yes, it is. But the level of information that you get sometimes is so much that it takes time to unpack here. But you do remember everything. And then as you get up, if it's not as important, they will start to fade and things like that. That's why it's always very good as soon as you come back from an out of body to write it down. Because as soon as you come back to this reality, this then becomes like your primary focus and it's harder to tap back in. But yeah, if you have a nice out of body, I for sure would write it down, and that cements it, and then you can go back and remember details and things like that and how you felt at that moment. Because sometimes when I'm recalling experiences just from my memory, you know, the human memory is very funny. So it just has to do with like how you remember it in your human ways. But yeah, I would recommend writing them down like immediately when you come back. And that's tough sometimes, because sometimes it's a good experience and you're like, maybe I can try to leave again. Maybe I can try to, and then you go to sleep and then you leave again, and then memories from the first one kind of fades out, you know, things like that. So yeah, my best advice would be to write them down when you come back. That's when I've seen the most success with that. Yeah. Can you see the deeper meaning behind reality in the out-of-body state? Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it will come back to you as a knowing. Like when you leave your body and you step out, things that I speak about, it will come back to you as a knowing and be like, yeah, that's this, that's that. And you really start out in a huge advantage. Like if I had never found, Darius, I'd be getting out, but I probably would still be battling a lot of my fears still. I probably wouldn't never known that, oh, this is me. Well, I probably would have figured, I don't know. It's hard to say, but you definitely get a jump start on things, and things come back to you as a knowing. Like if somebody presented something to me, you don't even necessarily have to see it to understand, like, okay, that's real. It will come back to you as a soul memory, as a knowing, and you will understand it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And you do certainly get the meaning behind reality. An example of this is the first time I left and I was shown the realms and things, and I was coming back to Earth. I was receiving downloads after that experience, things that I could only explain as feelings and emotions and just a deep knowing, and downloads, like true downloads. And I was like, I understand all of creation. I understand why we're here. And I was seeing the things in the Bible that was written. I was like, that's why that was there. That's how that's supposed to be interpreted. And I was seeing the whole beauty of all of creation and things like that, and having some big download. And you totally understand the meaning behind reality. Yeah. And then from there, it's just hard to explain it into words to everybody else. That takes time, like, because I know it, but for me to explain it and put these things into words to other people, that's where it gets a little tough, but yeah, you certainly will know. Serious question. When you're out, have you gone back to a previous place that you've been? If so, is everything the same? Could it all be a computer rendering, including the OBE state? No, I'm gonna go ahead and say no. It can be described, like Tom Campbell describes it from that type of perspective, like a computer rendering, things like that. You can use that type of terminology, but then I feel like that throws people off because it still is like an organic place. It still is a real place. And yeah, 100%, you can leave your body and see repeated things. Obviously, once you do this so long, guys, you will know, okay, this is a dimensional space. This is like what I'm seeing here is not real. You just know these things. All right. Now, if you go to a fixed place, like when you go to the halls of a mentee, sometimes when I go there, in the beginning, when I would go there, it wouldn't light up for me. Like it wouldn't open up. And I'm like, oh my. And then after time, I was like, oh, my frequency was off. That's why it wouldn't open up. So in that aspect, things can look different. Yeah. But once you understand why, because your frequency is not in alignment, things will open up and things will look different. Yeah. But then when you go back there, yes, there's our fixed things that you can target and access, and they will be the same every time. Now, another example is, you can be looking at a future event or something like that, and that's going to look different every time. Certain things do look different, but once you are able to understand what's really going on here, how there's dimensional spaces, how there's time events, how there's base reality, once you understand that, you're able to understand like what you're seeing and like what you're looking at, and it's not subjective. It is a clear base reality. And the people that are coming back saying it is subjective and things like that, it's because they don't understand. There's still levels to it. Just because you're outside of your body does not automatically mean that you remember all things and you have all of the answers. It is still based on individuals. Like, how much access are you destined to have? How much memory do you have? How advanced were you before this life? Things like that. It's all based on individuals too. But once you understand things and truly understand them and truly seek the truth, you can certainly 100% target the same thing. And it's not computer rendering. It's not that. It's deeper than that. Yeah. Question, Alchemist. I heard rainbows are actually reflection from the firmament dome, hence why there are different rainbow sizes, formation in different countries. Yeah. I mean, you can duplicate that. If you have a water droplet and light inside of like a bubble, a rainbow will appear. It's exactly what it is. It's exactly why the rainbow is the shape that it is. And yeah, that's exactly it. Have I seen blue beings that look like the blue people from Avatar? Um, Also, what powers can you unlock in the physical body? Not necessarily blue beings like the beings from Avatar. The blue beings I've seen would probably be like the Arcturians. Those are the blue beings that I've seen. Um, and what powers can you unlock in the physical body? Yeah, so telepathy is a big thing. Um, I was seeing future events and just being tapped in, like quite literally, like anything that you focus on, you can unlock. Now, the big thing for me that like I don't really have to work on or focus on too much is like seeing future events here, like in the physical, like knowing what's going to happen before it happens, seeing the connections to things, um, knowing how to communicate with people before they talk to me, and things like that. Those are things that come online for me very easily. Now, other things, telekinesis you can do because you're electric. That would probably take some real focus for me to unlock, but it'd probably be easier after a big out of body. But telepathy for sure, understanding thoughts, accessing the field of all things. Those are things that make it easier for me. For a while when I left, I believe I was having more access to the light spectrum. What used to be pitch black was no longer pitch black to me. Like I could see in what used to be pitch black. Um, yeah, and things like that. But essentially, any power or ability that you want, like I believe you can essentially learn how to fly, you walk on water. Alchemy is a real thing, you know. Once you understand things and free your belief system, you can do anything. Why do kids say they were in heaven? Somebody sent them back. So sometimes it's just like, yeah, you want to stay, but then like people that really know what you want to do will be like, nah, you got to go back. Remember the mission. Like we know this is great over here, but remember the mission. Remember what you want to do. You know, like remember what you want to do. Sometimes it's like that. And again, this is not every instance. This is just general things because there are outliers to everything. There are certain instances where what I say may not be true, but from a general perspective, that's what it could be. You guys have to understand these things, that like use your own discernment when listening and things like that. I do my best to try to deliver the truth and based on my experiences, but also understand that there are gray areas for a lot of these questions and things like that. But it could be something as simple as that is, somebody's like, all right, remember the mission. Yeah, we get it. You want to stay here, but they understand that you're still like in forgetfulness and you don't fully remember, what you want to do. And then you come back. Or it could be simply that they were on a reincarnation loop and somebody was really like, no, you're going back. It could be a number of things, but that's less likely to happen now as people are waking up. For kids specifically now, I know a lot of the kids here are coming for the mission to wake people up to the other side. I do know that. Um, so they are coming here for important missions and things like that. Yes, it is. 100%. Yes, it is. So life is a video game. Who is God? We are all God. Yeah. So answering questions like these on a whim to give you guys context and things like that. Lives are very hard because like you don't have time to think and you can go in any direction. And I don't want to, say things incorrectly, but it can be thought of as a video game. It can. Now, take this lightly because this life is still very serious. It's very real. Things are happening. But when I say it's a video game, because it's quite literally like you're the one controlling the character in the game. If you think of yourself playing a video game, and you're really invested in this character, and the character dies, or something, you lose something. If you're really invested in it, it's going to cause you, the person controlling it, a lot of heartache and pain. But if you're not really invested in the character, and you understand it's really just a game and you're still here in base reality, which would be the other side, things aren't going to really affect you and things like that. That's why the root of all suffering is attachments. Attachments here to this physical world, getting too attached, believing that this is real reality. That's what causes our suffering. And we quite literally are all our God, in the sense that God, the way that people, humans, the way that we believe God is, the way that I believe God was before I did this, was the being that created this universe, or wherever we are, person that made us, the person that had the ability to answer everybody's prayer and love everybody. That person that has all those abilities is you in soul form, outside of everything. You have the ability to create universes or constructs. You have the ability to love everybody. You have the ability to know all things. So in that aspect, you are quite literally God, the way that people would believe he is. Now, am I saying that souls are the end all? No, there is still a force out there that we call source, that is like everything and all at once. It's like this all-knowing field of energy, like all everything. Like that would be like the closest thing to God in that. But in the way that God is depicted here on earth, that's quite literally you. And in the stories, and a lot of the biblical texts and ancient texts and things like that, a lot of the beings that people would worship as gods were just quite literally beings from the other realms, like the Anunnakis, the ETs coming down from the heavens, the angels and things like that. I mean, the angels are real, they certainly are, but it's not like what they say, Yeah, it's cool. Like when they worship many different gods and stuff, they're worshiping other beings from other realms. That's who they're worshiping. So like when you understand that, it's like, all right, that's even more stupid, Why would you worship another being that's incarnated here when you're a soul, an eternal soul? So there's levels to it. I hope that helps. What are your thoughts on everyone is you pushed out? Neville Goddard teaching. I'm trying to understand how I can manifest people doing things and saying things. I don't understand. What are your thoughts on everyone is you pushed out? Neville Goddard. I don't know Neville Goddard's teachings. I've seen some clips of him. I don't know exactly what his teachings are and how you can manifest people doing things and saying things. I don't know. The closest thing I got to that when I was playing, when I was still very embedded here in this reality, and I was focused on changing my reality here, I would quite literally manifest things like, I'd say I want to access this room, and then next thing you know, this off-limit room in my job that was off limits due to proprietary information. And the next thing I know, like 30 minutes would go by and somebody would come and give me a task to do in that room. Like things like that were happening. And I was like, damn, this shit is real. You know what I mean? So that would probably be the closest thing that I know to that. I hope that helps. If you go to the other side and access a future timeline, how do you know if it's one from this reality or an alternate one? So there's only one reality here. That's it. There's only one human life where you're doing what you're doing, where your soul is in it. That's it. I know in this space, people say, oh, there's parallel realities, parallel timelines. All you're accessing is other potentialities based on your decision point. So every decision point, there is a you that's playing this out, but your soul's not in it. It's literally just like seeing a thought form, and you'll know this out of your body because the validity of it, it's a different feeling when you're viewing real time here, or you're viewing a future time event or another timeline possibility. It's different. It's like it's not as clear. It's not as physical, like you'll know. But there is only one timeline that we are living. And then every decision point, there may be a you that branches out and plays it out temporarily, but eventually it dies down. Now, if it's a future event that you put a lot of thought in, that will play out a little bit longer, sure. but it's not like they're happening, you know, it's just like potentialities. But there's only one. Yeah. Did the environment seem objectively fixed or dynamically rendered in response to your expectations, belief, and intentions? So there is a base reality on the other side that is not changeable. You can change your environment at any moment, creating a dimensional space. That is true. Your thoughts manifest instantly on the other side. But when you truly know how to navigate, there is a base reality and things that are objectively fixed. They are not changing. An example of this are the records, universal records, records in the halls of Amenti. There is another record in the Pacific Ocean somewhere that I found from another time period. There are fixed places that you're not changing these. The information there, there's fixed places that you're not changing. You're not. And a lot of people get stuck in their dimensional spaces and things like that. That's why they're not able to make it out. That's why they come back saying, oh, things are changing and it's all airy fairy, because they haven't reached the point of base reality yet. You know what I mean? It's like that. Do you believe in twin flames? I've had a short but intense experience with a woman with endless synchronicities. If so, can I see where they were to me in a past life? Yeah. So it's not really like twin flames. Darius explains these as original pairs. I don't. All those terms are. What I say it is there's just people that you've had experiences with, incarnations with. There are souls that you've had other experiences with, for sure. Being Lover are one of them, and I've seen her in other past lifetimes that we've been together, you know. Now, is it like twin flame, like, oh, you guys have to be together and all that? No, it's not really that. It's just that, like, yeah, if your intention before this was to meet up and be together for a particular mission in this life, yeah, those things happen. And when you meet them, it's like a strong knowing, like, oh, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is who I'm supposed to be with. Those feelings are real. And that comes from just before this incarnation, you guys setting that up to come and meet each other, you know? So that's why that feeling comes in, is like, oh, yeah, this is the person that I'm supposed to be with, you know? That happens. And a lot of more often than not, it's because you guys have had other experiences. And yeah, you can certainly figure that out in the out-of-body state. Yeah. Difference between souls and spirit, and what's it like to connect into your higher self, and what's cool about your higher self. Yeah, so people say this all the time. This comes from like religion-based aspects, saying that you exist here in the physical body, your soul exists in the astral realm, and your spirit exists in the spirit realm. I'm going to go ahead and say that's BS. That's just a narrative created here, because it's not that. You are you through and through. It's just you with more memory, or you in forgetfulness, you know. Saying that your soul's in the astral realm at all times, and your spirit, that just creates a misconception, you know, because when I'm out of my body, I am me. Nothing changes. When I merge back to my higher self, which I would, the closest thing was like when I was in the void and I remembered the beginning, and like I just knew like all things, like that's like but it was still like me, just raising, going there. So a spirit is more so like an energy. I like that narrative or that explanation a lot more, is that like a spirit is just like an energy that like you can tap into. It's not like, I would say it's more so like that. But your soul is you. Like when I say soul, I'm saying the you that exists outside of here, whatever level that is. It's just either you in forgetfulness or you in full remembrance. That's like the only difference that it really is. When you're really out here having these experiences, that's the only difference. You in full awareness, you in full memory, or you in somewhat awareness and still in forgetfulness. Like that's the only difference. But it's you. I don't even like the term soul. I was like, soul is a downplaying to like what we really are. I like saying when you go back to the God aspect of yourself, because that's really what it feels like. It's like you're just in the God aspect of yourself. Soul kind of doesn't really do it justice to like what we are outside of here. When connecting to your higher self, that is like, I mean, when you say higher self in the human form, connecting to your higher self is you that perceives without limitations, you that perceives in soul form. So when you're out of your body, you are in your higher self. You're just still in a little bit of forgetfulness. But the higher self is, I would say, you and full remembrance. You, the you that made the decisions about your life and things that were going on before you were a human in forgetfulness. Like, I would say that's your higher self. And when you leave your body, you can tap back into it because your memories do start to come back to you. You know, I would say that's your higher self. When out of body, do you remember all things from your whole existence? And if not, could it be you're just having a spiritual experience, but maybe not tapped by into complete higher self? Yeah, you remember all things. I think I just kind of explained that a little bit in the last question. What you guys need to understand is that the other side is just real. It's not misty. It's not airy fairy. That comes from people with one-off experiences or tapping into it from here and seeing some beings coming in from the other side of the light spectrum and they appear light. It's physical. It's real. There is base realities on the other side. It's not objectifiable. You're higher. It's you returning back to the eternal aspect of yourself and back into memory, because we're in complete amnesia here. Your soul literally goes into like complete amnesia when you step into here. And then when you get out of here, you start to remember again. And that's your higher self in full remembrance, I would say. Do you remember how Robert Monroe described the higher self as his there and he met these thousands of different personalities that were him? I don't remember that. I would say that's like when you get outside of this construct and things like that. You will just remember different lifetimes, different aspects of yourself and things like that, but it's all still you. It seems weird, and things are presented to everybody differently as well. Like, that might just be how it was presented to him, you know? But it's just like more of your memories come back. And he probably does have thousands of different personalities, not so much different aspects of himself for sure. But I will say that when you first that gets a little bit out there. When you first get out of here, this is what everybody needs to understand. When you first get out of here, you will be your soul, 100%. It is you in forgetfulness. You immediately do not remember all of your past lives, all of your decisions, and things like that. But as you stay out longer and longer, your memories do come back. As you meet people, you will say like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. I remember you." As you're shown things, you will start to remember things more and more and more. It's literally just like waking up from a coma and your memories start to come back slowly. It's literally just like that. And that's about as deep as like you guys need to know. Anything other than that, it gets hard to explain in human terms. If one has a beard like yourself, do they still have it in out of body? Yeah. So oftentimes when I view myself, I don't really look at myself too often, you know. But one time I was looking at myself in the mirror, I had an outfit on that like I was wearing quite frequently. So like I was sleeping, you know, in my underwear. So I would have been in that. But when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was wearing an outfit that I wore quite frequently. But yeah, I looked the same. You know, unless I'm in another body experiencing something. And then once I get out, like I don't even think about looking at myself. Like once I'm out inside of an experience, like, you know, I'm just there, you know. No, it's not really that, because when I leave, like I am 100% in my body and I can go and view my soul records that had already technically taken place. When we say all time is happening at once, it's because on the other side, we are outside of time, similar to a TV, how you can pause, rewind, and fast forward a television. So time, we're not really confined by the time that the characters inside the TV are. Think about it like this: if you were a TV character and you for whatever reason believed that that was real life and things like that, and you actually had to live out the time chronologically, but then you step outside of the TV in soul form and you can pause, fast forward, and rewind, it's more like that, you know. But the events already took place. Yeah. Are OBEs a lot easier to remember than dreams? Yeah, 100%, because you're fully there and present. Yeah, 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 they are. Yeah. How did we learn about the Earth School? What's space realm communication like with our peers and joining up to play these realities? I assume you can take aspects and create your own kingdoms. Yeah. Everybody knows about this. This is the biggest thing on the other side is Earth. There's a place that you can come in and forget everything. Like, what? That's crazy. It's really like that. It's like, what? There's a place you can come in and forget everything, and you can be a human. This human experience, we can experience what it's like to have limitations. Like, oh my God, everybody knows about this. And, so what's base realm communication like with our peers and joining up to play with these realities? So it's quite the best way to think about this. Now it's a lot grander than this, but the best way to think about this is like if me and you were in a room on the other side and we're talking and we're like, yo, there's this video game called Earth where we can go in and we can forget ourselves and our memories, but like let's go in and let's try to do this. And then we go in and play the game. We're in forgetfulness and we're trying to accomplish what we wanted to. It's kind of like that. And then we play the game. And yeah, you can create your own video game, your own reality, your own kingdom within this construct. It's kind of like say you're playing Madden and you want to create your own team or your own player. You can do that. Create your own thing. Are there certain sound frequencies that correspond with the different frequency bands of the different realms? Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that's why I draw the realms how I draw them in like the rainbow type shape. And frequency in the middle would be like 0, and then as you go farther away from the middle, the frequency band widens. I don't know what that would be. Maybe I'll do a video explaining on like how that really works. Maybe I'll do that. I was thinking about that. What do you know about Lucius? Robert Monroe explains it's a currency based on love and emotional pain. He also explained it as a substance that is used to collect our records here. I don't know what he was getting into because when I started getting out there and I was really traveling, I learned from somebody that was not Robert Monroe, that was just talking about the ultimate truth, that we're our own ultimate authority and just getting to the ultimate truth and things like that. So when I got into it, I came from that aspect, that level. When you start listening to these other people, it starts putting thoughts in your head. And an example of this is I wasn't listening to anybody other than one person, and then I watched a video of Ryan Cropper talking about an experience, and then I left, and it instantly put me in a state of inferiority where I was not walking in my ultimate authority, and my experience was extremely crazy because I was in like on his vibration, you see. So like I wouldn't listen to these people, not too much, not too much, because the ultimate truth is that, I would search for the ultimate truth, and not listening to too many other narratives and things like that. That'd be my best advice. Do you understand or can you explain the concept that everything is happening all at the same time? Yeah, I think I kind of just did that. So it's kind of like when we say everything's there's still a sequence of events on the other side. Like, I don't know why the hell people say that shit, really. Because it's really like there's still a sequence of events. Like, theoretically, realm 12 was made before realm 11. Realm 10 was made before realm 9. Like, there's still a sequence of events. This construct is relatively new. There's still... Now, when they say time is an illusion, it's because here in this realm, we experience time. We literally experience time because it takes time for my beard to grow out. I just cut this a little bit. It's going to take... I have to literally sit here through more present moments of now that gives me the illusion of time until it grows out. Like, that's how we experience time here. Things literally take time to happen here. It's more like a time, but there it's not. Like, I can grow my beard out instantly. I can think of something and it will appear instantly, you see? And it's quite literally like all things are happening at once because, like a TV, you can rewind the TV, you can pause it, and you can fast forward. That's what we mean, because you can see all things happening at once. You have the ability to rewind it, pause it, and fast forward it. Like, that's the best example, that's the best comparison that I have for you guys to try to understand what I mean when I say everything is happening all at the same time. It's that you have the ability to see it all. But once you're inside of the experience, there certainly is a sequence of events, you know, for sure. When you leave this whole construct, are you walking through a portal? Sometimes when I'm out of my body, no. It's like I'm just there. It's like I go out somewhere and then like I'm there. But there is a portal that takes you out, and like that's like when you leave this creation, like you're done, you know? Yeah. What does setting your intention does before sleep? It does everything. Setting your intention before sleep can be enough to trigger an out of body state. If you just set your intention to achieve an out of body and go to sleep, you can wake up in one of the 5 sensations that I mapped out. And there's ways to induce this more and more. Like, yes, your intention can certainly be enough to have an out of body, or wake up in a lucid dream, or anything like that. Have you been to the same place several times in OBE, or is it always different? Yeah, we answered this one already. How do you feel about the feminine and masculine sides of a soul? What happens when they aren't in harmony with each other? I don't really know about that. Like when I got into this, it was like this girl I was talking to she was very into like the feminine and masculine and things like that. A lot of those are like human constructs. Like it's not, you just are. You know what I mean? I mean, if you describe them in human terms, there are feminine and masculine things and traits. Those are true and those are real. But I would say it's more so, I hate putting too many terms on things, you know, because humans like to label stuff. But on the other side, it's just like, it just is what it is. I would say it's more so like not, I would say it's more so like not being in alignment with yourself and just getting your everything in alignment with yourself through your feelings and emotions and just feeling good at a state, you know. But when you start throwing terms like feminine and masculine, I think that gives people a preconceived notion on like what it is and what it means. Like it even does that for me when I hear those words, because like I have preconceived thoughts and feelings about those terms, you know. But it's more so just being in alignment with yourself. And if any part of yourself is out of alignment, you'll feel it. If you feel at ease and at peace within you, everything's in alignment. If you feel off, scattered, or have anxiety, or if you're off, that's what it feels like, you know, when something's off. So yeah, I would say just get everything in alignment, you know. Well, thank you, my friend. Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I do have some prior engagements, and let me relax, and unwind and decompress. But yeah, thank you guys for this. It was a great conversation, great questions. I hope these things help you in your own travels and soul development and understanding this reality that we are in, and help free your mind and freeing your souls. I truly hope this helps you guys. Um, but yeah, thank you guys all for being here. We'll see if we do the same thing next week. I appreciate you guys. And that's all I have. So remember, stay grounded, stay curious, and always remember, you are not just in this game, you are truly the one controlling it and creating your reality. I'm the Alchemist, and I'll see you guys on the other side.